Hello and welcome back to Shakesyear. We are working on Richard III, and today we get to hear from Buckingham again. We are in what the folio calls Act 3, Scene 4, but a lot of other versions we've made it to Act 3, Scene 7. It's just because Act 3, Scene 4 is so long, a lot of people wanted to split it up so that, passage of time and stuff like that makes sense. So Richard is trying to put together his group of people that will help him stage a coup so that he can become king. And while he killed his elder brothers to move himself up in the line of succession, he is trying to skirt around his nephews as opposed to killing them outright. So he had sent Buckingham out to spread the rumors amongst the general population that young Prince Edward and young Prince Richard are illegitimate children of the King Edward who died. So play up the fact that the King Edward liked to sleep around and all that sort of thing, and all the while saying that these two are illegitimate, which therefore would knock them out of the line of succession, and Richard can take it. He's also taken George/Clarence's children and hidden them way far away where nobody can get at them, and he's made it so that nobody can go and talk to Edward and Richard. So he had sent Buckingham out to spread these rumors, which Buckingham did sort of alongside the mayor, who was trying to convince the people that the murder of Hastings was a necessary thing because Hastings was a traitor. And when Buckingham got out into the crowds and shared this new information, and even went so far as to maybe hint at the fact that King Edward was an illegitimate child himself, which again would knock him out of the line of succession and his children out of the line of succession. But the people weren't really buying it. They weren't like jumping on it and cheering and saying like, yes, Richard should be king, Richard should be king. There were like 10 people that were like, yay, Richard. And Buckingham tried to take the momentum of those 10 people and magnify it, but that wasn't really successful either. So he came back and reported that to Richard. The Lord Mayor is on his way over to where Richard and Buckingham are right now. And Buckingham is like, okay, you need to go. You need to be like studying a Bible with a bunch of priests when the Lord Mayor gets here, because they're going to want a pious leader. They're going to want somebody who knows his stuff, because at the time they believed that the king was chosen by God. So they're going to want a king who is close to God and knows what he's talking about when it comes to godlike things. So Richard goes off to study and he finds himself a couple of priests, and the Lord Mayor comes over and Buckingham is like, I think he's disposed at the moment. And then Catesby comes in and they're like, where's Richard? And Catesby's like, well, he's studying and doesn't want to be disturbed. And they're like, but we have important matters to discuss, so go get him. And this whole thing from the point of view of Richard and Buckingham and Catesby is a show for the mayor. Just keep that in mind. It's a show for the mayor. So anyway, Richard comes in, and in the stage directions, it implies that he comes in on like a higher level of the stage. Like if they're all on the floor, multi-level stage, Richard should come in somewhere higher, and he's flanked by priests, and he's like, I'm so sorry, I was caught up in all of my studies. I've been neglecting my friends. It seems like you're mad at me. And they're like, well, we do have important things that we need to discuss with you. And he's like, it seems that you're mad. Let me make amends for whatever it is that I've done that has irritated or irked you. And Buckingham says, no, then, it is your fault that you resign the supreme seat, the throne majestical, the sceptred office of your ancestors, your state of fortune and your due of birth, the lineal glory of your royal house, to the corruption of a blemished stock. Whiles in the mildness of your sleepy thoughts, which here we waken to our country's good, the noble isle doth want his proper limbs. His face defaced with scars of infamy, his royal stock graft with ignoble plants, and almost shouldered in the swallowing gulf of dark forgetfulness and deep oblivion, which, to recur, we heartily solicit your gracious self to take on you the charge and kingly government of this your land, not as protector, steward, substitute, or lowly factor for another's gain, but as successively, from blood to blood, your right of birth, your empire, your own. For this, consorted with the citizens, your very worshipful and loving friends, and by their vehement instigation, In this just cause come I to move your grace. So he's saying it's your fault that there's going to be an imposter and a traitor and someone who doesn't deserve to be on the throne. And unless you do something which the entire population and all of your friends are asking you to please take the throne and save England from the embarrassment of having someone unworthy sit on the throne instead of you, who are the most worthy in this particular time and place and position. So remember, it's all a show for the mayor. They're weaving this web for the mayor, for the mayor's benefit, to make it look like Richard should be on the throne, and to make it look like he's doing England a favor by taking the throne instead of letting young Prince Edward actually be coronated. So Richard obviously has a reply, but that reply is in the form of a monologue, so we'll hear about it tomorrow. I will see you then. Mwah.